my beautiful ninjas, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. For those of you who have yet to subscribe to my channel, make sure that you do click that subscribe button, and also make sure that you do click that bell so you're always notified every time I upload a video. And for those of you who have recently subscribed, thank you so much for joining the team. I really appreciate you guys, and I would love to hear from you, so make sure that you do leave your feedback down in the comment section. But as you guys can tell by the title, in today's video I wanted to get a little bit more personal, a little bit deeper. So hopefully you guys, can enjoy this video as well with me. But I wanted to talk to those of you who have been kind of like struggling and dealing or in trying to deal with your anxiety. Now, I started my YouTube channel obviously because I loved, doing the makeup videos or trying out to do those makeup videos and doing hair videos and things like that, because I'm learning just like you guys are. But at the same time, the main reason that I started my channel is to make sure that I talk about things that help to uplift your spirits and to really help you to be a better person overall. So I want to talk about anxiety. I've talked about this before on my channel. I did a video a long time ago on my channel about this, but I wanted to kind of talk about it a little bit more in depth, and just to try to help you guys, to give you different ways that you can kind of overcome your anxiety or to just deal with it head on. So make sure that you guys do stick around for that. I do have some notes written down on my phone because I did want to remember everything. So if you guys see me looking down, that's what I'm looking at. But of course, when it comes to anxiety, it's just basically a feeling of uneasiness, whether it's a specific situation or whether you're around a specific person or you have to do a specific task. It's just kind of like that feeling of uneasiness. And sometimes it can definitely be crippling for some of us, because that anxiety, if we don't really, understand where it's coming from, or we don't really know how to address it or to face it, sometimes it can translate into fear, and sometimes that can be crippling, and it can stop you from doing things that you've always wanted to do, and it can just really stop you from really enjoying each moment. And that's not something that's worth it, because at the end of the day, every moment that we're given and every moment that we're blessed to have and to see and to experience is such a gift that you don't want to waste it on something that is not true, something that's false, something that is just kind of like the devil's way of trying to deter you, pretty much, if that makes sense. So I want to just kind of talk a little bit more about how to overcome your anxiety. Of course, all of us deal with it differently. All of us may not even recognize that we're anxious individuals, or we may not even want to admit to it. I've told you guys this before, and I've admitted this before, and I can be very honest and transparent on my channel in regards to this, that I've struggled with anxiety for years. It's something that I never really spoke to my family or friends about, because I didn't really know how it would be received, and I didn't really want to kind of like seem like a weird like, what do you mean you're dealing with anxiety? Like, I didn't really know how people would take it if I told them that I was struggling with this. So for a long time I was handling it supposedly on my own. And what I really noticed along the years, after I finally got to a point where I acknowledged my patterns, what I realized is that the way that I dealt with it was by just overly eating or drinking or whatever the case may be. I just found something to try to fill that void, but that void would never be filled because I didn't understand where the anxiety was coming from in the first place and why I felt so anxious pretty much all the time. And now, more recently, I would say that I've definitely gotten to a place where I am more in control of my anxiety, because I acknowledge it to be the truth of just myself and my personality, and I'm no longer fighting it, because I feel like for me, my anxiety also, I guess what fed my anxiety was trying to kind of like sweep it under the rug as if it was not happening. And I feel like that is not something that's going to help you in the long run. It's okay to acknowledge the fact that you do struggle with anxiety or depression or whatever the case may be. It's okay to acknowledge that, because that's the first step to healing. That's the first step to being able to overcome it. And that's the first step of, being able to, have control over it. And so if you are someone that is struggling with it and you don't really know how to talk to your friends, you don't really know how to talk to your family because you feel like you're going to be judged or criticized, or if you're just judging and criticizing yourself more harshly than anyone else would, I want you to know that it's okay and for you to just accept it. I think a lot of times in life we have such an idea of the type of people that we're supposed to be because of somebody else's standards or the world's standards, or just kind of like standards that are put on us by our parents or by our family, or just maybe the way or the idea that we have in our minds of how we should be. And that in itself is something that I did for a long time, but I'm at the place now where I understand the value in who I am, and I'm okay to accept who I am without, I don't really know how to explain it. I feel like a part of where my anxiety came is I gave more value to the future me, and I didn't really find value in the present me, if that makes sense. If you guys can relate to what I'm saying, make sure that you do leave your comments down below so we can just have a conversation about this and just help each other out to just be better people in general. But I feel like for a long time that's what I did. I really just kind of found more value in the picture that I had in my head of this person that I was supposed to be, not realizing that the person that I'm supposed to be, I already am. So if you've been dealing with anxiety or you haven't really figured out how to deal with your anxiety, the first tip that I want to give you guys, and I want to just kind of jump into this, the first tip is to try to identify your triggers by paying attention to your thoughts and your circumstance when you're actually feeling anxious. This was a huge thing for me, because I feel like I said, if you continue to sweep things under the rug and you act as if it's not happening, it's not going to serve you in any way. You're not going to be able to realize or recognize the patterns in which you choose to ignore your anxiety or to I guess feed your anxiety. So you have to really make sure that you identify your triggers by paying attention to yourself, by paying attention to your thoughts. When you're feeling anxious, when you're starting to feel that uneasiness, try to pay attention to your surroundings. What's going on in that particular moment that makes you feel anxious? And when you're able to recognize that, that's going to give you an insight on as to what it is that you need to do to moving forward, what you need to do moving forward to make sure that you're able to I guess face it or to overcome that particular situation with grace. So make sure that you pay attention to your thoughts. Like I said, make sure that you pay attention to your circumstance and your surroundings when you are feeling anxious. Now I realized that, like I said, for me, my anxiety came from, I guess, the need to feel or to be in control. And when I felt like I wasn't in control, I started to feel really anxious. And one of the things that made me feel the most anxious was the future. It's like, I'm actually reading this book, and if you guys have not read this book yet, you need to pick it up today, okay? The book is by Eckhart Tolle, and it's called The Power of Now. The book is absolutely amazing. I'm almost done with it. But in the book, it talks about the fact that we're always either living in the future or in the past. We're never truly present. We're never truly, enjoying the present moment, when the present moment is all that we truly have. And I didn't recognize the fact that, like, I knew that intellectually, but I didn't recognize the fact that I always lived in the future or the past, and the future made me completely anxious because I didn't know if I would ever amount to the ideal that I had in my head of who I was supposed to be. And I think that it's definitely important that you surround yourself with people that understand you, people that will support you, people that will help you to get through exactly what it is that you're going through at this time, and to really just surround yourself with positive information. Even if you don't have anybody in your corner that you feel like will understand exactly what you're going through, make sure that you're always listening to positive messages. Whether it's, a book that you're reading on this topic, or maybe you have someone that you can speak to, or maybe you're watching certain videos and things like that in seminars where they talk about the topic. It's important that you surround yourself around the information so you can, gain insight, I guess you should say, on how to move forward and how to overcome what it is that you're going through. Anxiety is not the end of you. We're all going to feel it, you know, at a certain point in our lives, whether it's because of a job interview or a job promotion or a confrontation or whatever the case may be, whatever it is that feeds your anxiety, we're always going to experience it. But the point is to recognize how you deal with it or the lack thereof, and to really try to figure out I guess what you do or what you surround yourself with that feeds your anxiety. Another example that I wanted to give you guys as well, for example, if you're not really confident in yourself, let's say in your physical appearance, for example, and you're always scrolling through Instagram and you're watching all these, you know, beauty gurus that know how to do their makeup and they look good and they have the money and they have the boyfriend and this and that, that can be another source that feeds into your anxiety without you even knowing it. You may not even recognize that that's something that you're doing on a daily basis that feeds your anxiety. Because what it does is that it creates a gap between you and what you want, or the ideal that you have in your head as to who you should be. And there should not be a gap. When you're able to identify your triggers, the one thing that it does is that it definitely, like I said, gives you insight as to you know, how you feed into your anxiety, the things that you may do on a daily basis that you may not even realize that feeds your anxiety. But the main thing that I will say that identifying your triggers does is that it really teaches you to take things as they come, to just be open to the possibilities of life, to be open to the wonders of the world, to be open to the mysteries, and just being okay with whatever it is, not feeling the need to know what it is. Like, I heard this quote, I think I read it somewhere or I heard this quote before, and it says that if you don't fear the unknown, it will be kind to you.